Alright guys, how's it going? It's assignment 12. Again, I'm stuck using my webcam just because my access to my other cameras is kind of limited right now. But yeah, anyway, for this week's assignment, I'm going to be going over the games Myst and Eidolon. And really, they're games that are similar but very different at the same time. Myst takes place on an island, and as far as time goes, you can change to different ages, but it's really just kind of like a progressive time. You know, it's ongoing as you're playing the game. But the way that you go about changing time or its use of time would be changing ages. Um, it's a first-person game and it's 3D obviously, but you're pretty much free to roam wherever you want as far as your space limitations go. Um, and it's one of those games where the way you win is by continuing on or just being able to keep playing. And then Eidolon is actually, it kind of reminded me of the idea of my game, roaming around in the woods, looking for almost like the history of places, like who lived there, when they lived there, you know, what this place has. You can get attacked by animals. So in one sense, it's kind of like my game because Ultimate Survival is my game, by the way, just for you guys that aren't aware. But just because you're out in the wilderness and you're roaming around and you have the dangers of the wilderness, but it's not so much about surviving, it's more about, figuring out what has been there in the past or, the people and the cultures and things like that. These games are similar, but they're different at the same time, like I said before. In Eidolon, the space is really weird. It can be kind of like pixelated greenish gray as you're going through the wilderness and stuff like that. And, things just seem pretty basic and not well put together. Or I shouldn't say not well put together, but just very basic. But, that's just because it's a basic game that was designed. The feedback is pretty poor. I wasn't a big fan of that. It's just kind of like, it's not really descriptive or telling you what to do. It just kind of gives you weird like quotes or poems and things like that. And I think that it really didn't give you much insight on directions on how to play the game or feedback of how you're doing in the game. It was more just kind of like you figured it out for yourself. And my game, that's similar in a way, in the sense that you'll be figuring things out for yourself, but also you'll have tips and things like that along the way. When I think about how I'm going to let the player know that they're winning, I have come up with the idea of positive sounds and negative sounds. So like, because my game is infinite lives, but when you die, you hear something like wah 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 or dun 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 or something like that. Whereas if you succeed in the level and move on to the next level, you hear something like cha-ching or bing, something kind of positive sounding. As far as visuals go, you'll clearly see on the screen that it says, completed, move on to the next level, or you died, or something like that, and you'll either start over at a checkpoint in that level if it was a long level, or you'll just restart the level depending on how far you've gotten along. Using space, you'll be free to roam around in the woods, so you're free with space. You can kind of roam wherever. I mean, you can't like walk through trees or things like that, but anywhere that's not, that a human could walk in real life, you can walk in the game. Visually, you'll know when you die or survive because it's pretty self-explanatory. But again, the sound effects that I'm going to add should also help give people an idea of how they did. But those sound effects will come along when you either fail or succeed. But I was thinking even I could put in the game, if you're close to dying, you could put in like sound effects like a heart beating really fast or adrenaline pumping, that kind of thing. Whereas if you're doing fine, you hear like calm sounds like birds chirping, things like that you would usually hear in the woods, or in whatever environment you're in, if it's hot or cold, and if you have a partner or gear, depending, things like that. And also I was thinking you could get feedback from your partner if you chose partner instead of gear. And also you get positive feedback if you do well in the game, because if you complete a certain level in a certain amount of time, maybe for that next level you'll get a partner and gear. So yeah, and I will attach some links to the sound effects that I was thinking. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. I hope you have a great week.